Welcome everyone. In today's class, we'll learn about array in C programming. I hope that you already have a basic idea about variables and data type. So here are the objectives of today's class. At first, we will learn about the necessity of an array. Next, we will learn to define array. Next, we will learn to declare array. And last but not the least, we will learn how can we access elements from an array. So let's begin. Now let's say we have a variable a and the value of the variable is 5. So what the compiler or the machine does is it allocates a portion of the memory for storing the value of a. The memory differs from machine to machine. Sometimes it could be 2 bits and sometimes it could be 4. So that's not really our concern of today's class. Today we'll learn about array. So now what if you want to store another value inside the same variable? So instead of storing 5, if you want to store 6, what will happen is the machine will override the previous value and instead of 5 now it will show the value of a as 6. So I think you can already understand what I'm trying to say. For this conventional way we can store one number at a time, but practically we have thousands of data, so we have to store multiple data inside the same variable. So let's say you want to write a program. That program will store the midterm marks of the whole class. How many students do I have in this class? 40, right? Or 50. So if you want to write a program that will store all of the students' midterm mark, one way you could do is you can declare variables for each student. Let's say Mark got 20, Mijan got 15. And we have to go on like this as number of the students. This is not very practical, right? Your program will be just filled with variable declaration only. Your program will look bad and it will not be a very practical way to write a program. So is there any way we can just store multiple values inside the same variable? Yes, there is. I think now you all understand what is the necessity of an array. Array is very important in programming. So next we will learn how can we define array. In the screen you can see a very conventional formal definition of an array. But that's not how we will learn array. We will just use examples to learn more about array. So now I want you all to close your eyes and imagine a train, or rather the metro rail. Imagine the metro rail. What does it have? It has different compartments or different coaches. So just like a train, an array will have different compartments. We call them indexes of an array. So this is an array. This is a visual representation of an array. So what is an array? An array is a collection of data. We don't use the same train for different purposes, alright? We use different types of train for carrying goods and another type for carrying people. Just like that, we cannot store multiple type of data inside the same inside the same array. So the data type has to be the same data type. So if this is an array, we can store only integer type, or we can store only float type, or if you want to store string, then you will have to only store string. You cannot use other data types. So I think now we are clear about the definition of an array. Next, we will learn to declare an array. How can we declare an array while we will program, while we will write a program? For declaring an array, first you will have to mention the type, data type of the array. So first, array type or data type. Next, you will have to name the array. Next, you will have to give a parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis, you will have to mention the size or number of elements of the array. What I want you all to do is just note it down. Note it down how you can declare an array while you will write a program. First data type, then name of the array, and next the size. So let's say we want to store float values inside an array. So what does this mean? This means that we have an array with data type float, and the name of the array is ARR or AR, and the size of the array is 5, or the elements inside of the array is 5. So that's how you can declare the array. Now I have a question for you all. So my question is, can you specify the length of an array or size of an array as 10.56? Or can the length of an array be different types other than integers? That's the question. Now think about it for a moment. What did I say? I said that arrays are like trains. Now does the train have a half compartment? No, it doesn't. The compartment will have to be a full compartment. It will have to be an integer value. So this is not right. No, the length could not be a float value or a double value. It will only have to be an integer. Now you can say that minus 5 is an integer value. So the size of the array could be minus 5, right? But that's not also true. There's no minus compartment of a train, right? So that's why the size of an array will only be positive integer values. Remember that, it's very important. In the next slide, we'll learn about how you can access elements from an array. I have already mentioned that an array has different indexes. So the numbering of the index always starts from 0. So if the size of the array is 5, we will have the last index will be 4. So from there, what can you say? Let's just come to a hypothesis. What can you say? You can say that the last index is equal to size of the array minus 1. So just note it down. This is very important. Now that you know about the size of an array and the index, let's learn how you can access elements from an array. So these are the values of each indexes. Now you want to access this value, right? So what you will have to do is, at first what you will have to do is, you will have to write down the name of the array. Name of the array. Next, you will have to use third parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis, you will have to mention the index number of the value that you want to access. So if you want to access this element, you will have to write down the number of index. So inside you will have index value. So in this case you want to access 100, right? So you will have to write down the name at first. In this case the name is A, and then you will have to write down the index value. So here the index value is 3, so just write 3. So if you write it like this, it will give you the value that is inside the index 3 here. So in this case you will get 100. So that is how you can access elements from an array. In the next class we will learn how you can store values inside of an array. So till then, goodbye. Hope you all enjoyed the class. Thank you very much.